Morning all, how are we doing? Morning Ladder, morning Diamond, morning Stevie. Oops, sorry, just microphone malfunction. So I got the microphone on the desk now and I have to get the cable all arranged, otherwise it interferes with the mouse and other stuff. How are you all doing? Happy Monday, morning Adrian. Another week, another crazy yen move today. I had a massive spike on the yen overnight again, so ignore ADR on this one today. We did 428 pips overnight in one foul swoop in 5 minutes. So big intervention again on the yen, although it just completely unwound straight away this one. So not quite sure what's going on with the yen. So I'm still staying out. Morning Themba. I say I'm staying out. I'm in yen short, obviously, with US dollar yen from that trade. Look at that entry. Isn't that the best entry ever? Look at my entry on that. Couldn't have timed it better, could I? Actually, I got in here somewhere around there. I got in there. There you go. You can see that candle there because I took off partial, didn't I, on Friday? Yeah. Very nice entry. So yeah, not sure what's happening with this one. Just be aware there may be more intervention today. So I've got 0.5 running on it. I had a 0.15 running on it on Friday. I took 10 off as we were pushing down, and then obviously this thing just continued to collapse on Friday. Kashida has come out and there's just no commenting about this. No comment on Forex intervention. So obviously they did, otherwise they wouldn't no comment on it. They're closely monitoring the moves with a keen sense of urgency. We will take appropriate action in the event of excessive movements. So basically it's all the same stuff, saying that they will do something if it gets out of hand. So obviously that's what they did. And that's what they did. Tried again this morning and it completely unraveled. So whether that's them intervening and then someone just pulling the profit back off, I don't know what that is, that move. I don't know who's done it. But anyway, it's undone. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this one today. But they are certainly not happy with 150, obviously. 150 is massive. This 150 level we got up to. And then we got that 225% ADR move or whatever it was on Friday, and they just went, nah, not having any of that, and they dumped it. So we will see what happens today. There's a good chance that we will get the same thing happening with the previous intervention, which was here, where we just basically undid the whole thing and carried on business as usual. So if that's going to happen, we will just trickle up here this week. I'll get stopped out on this position and that's fine. But it's getting to the point now with this US dollar yen where it's becoming untenable to trade with the US, Japan, because, you know, when we were looking back here, like, in March, we were trading sort of 110, 115. So it's now, you know, when you're selling something from Japan over to America now, you know, the amount of money that is is being made, or rather the amount being paid, is so much different now. It becomes untenable. What's the point in doing these transactions now? Because there's no money in it for people, or there's too much money in it for one party. So Japan has got to intervene and sort this out. Quite how, I don't know. You know, the bond purchasing systems that central banks tend to use to print money will continue as normal, but that's what's got us everybody into this mess that we're in at the moment, isn't it? So we'll see what happens. So yeah, so that's the yen. So banked 3.81% on Friday. That was 200 of that was well, so that 380 quid, 200 of that was on the yen. The rest of it was on DAX scalps and US dollar CAD. I closed out that long. Sorry. Yeah. So I closed out that long. Back in it again this morning. US dollar CAD. That was it. Aussie Swiss. That was the 21st. A pound Swiss. That was 21st as well. Yeah. Pound Swiss closed one out on that, which was, gosh, difficult to tell, isn't it? That one there. And I've put that back on this morning. And New Zealand CAD are closed out as well. And another odd Swiss. To go. So quite a bit closed out basically on Friday. So good day. I've got obviously US dollar yen running. I've got that new US dollar CAD position on. I've also taken a new pound US dollar position this morning as well. I haven't, the EA has, obviously. I've got the EA running, you know, I've got the EA set up running, getting my entries in for me. So this morning we had a reversal alert here after this gap up. So got into a new position on that, extended on the hourly. So taking a new pound US dollar. And you see everything else I've got on is everything else I've got on. Euro Swiss is coming down nicely this morning. This was pushing up this morning when I was looking at it. It's got a nice push down. So looking to get out of this one down here. This, if we can get some movement today on this. Obviously, there's been some massive movement overnight. If you look at the these overnight moves, obviously with this intervention, market's just opened. With this intervention with the yen, there's obviously a lot of movement. Morning, Jane. Didn't see you there. There's a lot of movement happens on all currencies, because to be able to push money into the yen, money is being pulled out of other places and to use to manipulate the market. So we get these big movements on other things as well, as money's being dragged out of something and pushed back in. So we've had lots of movement, lots of ADRs. The ADR dash is obviously lit up like a Christmas tree. Monday morning before the market opens, we've got 225% ADRs. You know, it's nuts. So we'll have to have a look through everything this morning to see what's going on. But yeah, some big movements there. Pushed up quite hard. I've got these two positions on. Whoops, oh, they're there. You can see them. Which are now nicely in profit, very close to break even on this one. The main thing I've got a problem with at the moment is Aussie New Zealand. The Aussie's just getting stomped by the New Zealand dollar at the moment. So this is getting to the point of the deepest pullback we've seen in the last 12 months now here. So I'm expecting some strength to start to come through when we get down to these lows. So if we can get an ADR hit today, I should be getting into another position on this one. I've got that extra position I got into, unfortunately, which as soon as I got into that one, expecting this 0.8 here, I was expecting this to be the start of the move, pushing back up into resistance, and we didn't. We just tanked again. So I've now got way too much leverage on this, exposure on this. So I'm looking for another position down at the lows. And see if we can get some movement on that one today. So yeah, ADR. So somewhere around an ADR on this 125 ADR today. We're going to start hitting a load of potential support levels. You see this area has been very, very supportive in the past on multiple occasions. So this 100 to 125 area, I suspect we get a reaction down here. Whether we get a bounce, that's another question. So, so this is the only thing I've really got a problem with at the moment. I was tempted to take some of this off on Friday, but I didn't. So that's where I am, 32% up on the month. Should be best month ever, I think. Position trading anyway. So we'll see. Right, let's have a quick look at the DAX. See where we're going. So we're going long on the DAX this morning by the looks of things. So big bull day on Friday, as you can see. US dollar was weak, really weak on Friday, and obviously markets took full advantage of that. Massive, big bullish engulfing going in there. Oh, it's earnings fortnight. We need to look at earnings. So today we have nothing. All right, okay, fine. So there's no earnings today. It's earnings fortnight, but there's no earnings today. So nothing coming out today. It's all tomorrow starting. So we got 3M, we got Coca-Cola, General Electric, General Motors, and we got Google Aftermarket, Microsoft, Spotify, Visa. God, you don't get much of a bigger lineup than that lot, do you? So Wednesday is going to be a busy old day. We got Facebook on Wednesday. That's dead. We got Ford, McDonald's, got CME, got our friends at the CME, Shopify, Amazon, Apple, Gilead, loads of it. So it's a busy old week. So this is going to be a very turbulent week, very difficult to tell which way we're going. So yeah, it's earnings. With earnings, you get movement in line with earnings, and there's nothing really you can do. It'll go where it goes based on the earnings of the companies and what the market thinks of those earnings, basically. So every day is a different day. But typically we tend to get bull runs in earnings, but we haven't had that necessarily happening in the last year. So we will see. But certainly it looks fairly bullish at the minute, obviously, doesn't it? Just watching this 129.27 or 129.25. Looks like I've got it marked out on here. That is daily resistance. That's a big old opening range, very bullish open. Be careful with this morning if you're going to trade the DAX this morning. Excuse me. 8:15 we've got news and a frog, I'm afraid. So 8:15 we've got the PMI for the French, followed by 8:30 we've got the PMI for Germany, and then we've got 9:30 the PMIs for the pound, and then we've got 2:45 this afternoon the PMIs for the US dollar. So it's PMI day today. So just be careful. We've got lots of red news coming out today across Europe and America. The rest of the week we've got consumer confidence tomorrow, which is not a lot. And then Australian CPI inflation figures. Oh God, I hope they come out green. So yeah, looking for decent inflation figures for the Australians on Wednesday. We've got the rates for Canada, 3.75, so they're going for a 0.5 increase, which is good. They're coming out on Wednesday as well, so big day for Canada. And then we got the press conference an hour later. We got the euro rates, 0.75. Big move up on the euro. So again, we might get a big bullish move on the euro. That's getting a little bit more bullish now. This rate announcement, I might be flipping my bias long on euro finally. Obviously, euro has been coming up. I've been watching it, waiting for it to start to flag, and it hasn't. It's kind of doing well, better than I was expecting it to. So we'll see what happens with this rate. If they get that rate, we might see some strength coming out of the euro. They're still economically still stuffed, and obviously you've got war on their doorstep. So I don't think it's going to get anywhere near as strong as the US has been, but there's a good chance we might get some continuation strength on the euro. So I might be flipping the EA over longs on euro. I'll see what happens, but I've got euro Swiss on at the moment, so I kind of want to get out of that by Thursday. We got GDP for the US and an ECB press conference in the afternoon on Thursday as well. And then Friday, we've got the Bank of Japan. So these guys need to sort their lives out. So this will always be tentative. It's usually somewhere between 3 to 5 o'clock in the morning, AM UK time here. We get that coming out of Japan. So with all the intervention going on, I suspect we'll get some volatility there, but we will see. So we've got that to look forward to, and then we've got PCE and GDP for CAD and US on Friday afternoon. So it's a busy week for news. We've got news every single day of the week. Tuesday, tomorrow is not really the busiest day, but a lot going on. So yeah, it's going to be a busy one. And obviously we've got the earnings to think about. So it's going to be a massively volatile week this week, I suspect. Okay, so we've just tapped into that. So I'm just going to, I'm not doing this. I'm actually trading Jigsaw at the moment, my futures account. I'm just going to short the, what should I short this morning? What should I pick? I'm going to short the Dow. Let's go with the Dow. I'm just going to sprinkle some short orders in the Dow. So my Forex funds account, I've got up to a level I want to withdraw on, so I'm not touching that. My EA account is actually negative at the moment. I'm having a negative month at the minute. I'm being a bit careful with that one because I haven't actually got an awful lot of room left on it. I think I might be blowing that one this month. Oh, and the other thing, I don't know if any of you, if you've traded with EA, there's a tournament started today. I don't know if you haven't registered for it, it's too late. But they're starting a tournament with cash prizes. So they're turning trading into a game. It's very much turning into a casino with them. Lovely short here. Back down there. So yeah, there's an E8 tournament started today. I haven't got my logins for it yet. It's not actually gone live, but it goes live today. So I might start trading that in the mornings as well. I've got its 150k account, I think it is. I think I've got 5k daily drawdown limit on it. So I might start kind of hybrid position trading strategy with it, and just see if I can start building up some big positions to try and trade that account. So we'll see what happens with that. I need to get the logins first. I've also, sorry, the reason I was going to say, morning, Alan. The reason I'm trading my Jigsaw account this morning is I've just found a new prop firm for futures, which is these guys. I don't know if any of you are familiar with these guys, Take Profit Trader. They've been going for about a year. It's a 10-day valuation. This is the game changer. Yeah, you know, I trade with Apex. I have to wait 2 to 3 weeks with Apex to get paid. And then I have to wait 3 months to get full payment from them because I can only withdraw a percentage of my profits. These guys, minimum days until first withdrawal, and this is on futures, and they all platforms through Rhythmic and Ninja. 0 days with an immediate withdrawal process. So interesting. We will see what happens. So I'm just taking an evaluation with them. I made a load of money on Friday on the NASDAQ move. So I'm halfway to, actually I'm not halfway. I think my target's 3k and I think I did about 1100 or something. No, I didn't, just under 1,000 on Friday. So I've got to trade 10 days, and the only difference between this company and the other futures one is they've got a consistency rule. So your biggest day cannot be 50% of your total profit. So I've got a 3k target, I think it is, $300 a day, which is easy. But I can't have more than $1,500 in one day over that 10-day period. So you've just got to, I've got to be a bit careful because I did a big profit on Friday. So I just need to eke it out over 10 days, basically. But then that's the thing that's so different to all the other firms. If I, on day one, make 2K on a big NASDAQ move, for example, I can just literally log into my account and hit the sell button, withdraw button, and I'm done. Big advantage. No one else does this. So I'm testing this account out, this company out. I've not heard of them. They've only been going for a year. They're run by a guy called James Sixsmith, who used to be a professional hockey player. I'm aware of him in the trading realms. and he's got a fair bit of capital behind him personally. So I think he started this up as his own business, but obviously he's got a vested interest in trading as well. So looks legitimate to me, but obviously we will wait and see. So, but go and check them out if you're interested in futures. That's the account I'm doing. I can trade 60 micros. I'm only trading micro NASDAQ, micro Dow, micro ES. And that's the consistency rule. Most profitable day cannot be 50% of your total profits. You're not allowed to use bots, which is fine because it's through Rhythmic and Ninja. So I suppose you can use bots through Ninja, but I don't trade with bots in futures. And the other interesting thing is Forex is coming soon. So if these guys are going to introduce Forex as well, with an immediate payout, this might be very interesting. So we will see. Loads of platforms supported. Obviously, I use Jigsaw. But yeah, it's very well set up. The admin areas is sort of, it's like it's FTMO level admin area. It's it's a really good good looking company and site. So we'll see what happens with those. I've got 4 shorts on my. So if you took this short, it's playing out very nicely. I've got 4 contracts short on this. I'm just going to flatten that. It's $100. There we go, $100 breakfast. Morning, Alan. If I haven't said a morning, I think I have already. Ladder and stocks. That looks promising. Yeah. So yeah, they do stock. They're thinking of doing stocks as well. Take profit trader. So yeah, I'll let you know how we get on with them. So on this is only day 2 of the evaluation. I started the evaluation on Friday and I went a bit mental and made a bit too much, which is obviously normally a good thing, but in this respect, I couldn't push it any further Friday because I can't have that 50% of profit being. So I've put pressure on myself now, basically, by having $1,000 day. I've got to make sure that I have other days which are fairly good because I can't hit target and that be 50% of my profit. So I've got to be a bit careful. But anyway, so that's coming down at the moment, the DAX. So I basically shorted it from there down to there and I'm out. So yes, indices. So yeah, be careful with this morning. Obviously 8:15 we've got, there's the news. So kind of as expected. Why is that black? That should be red. So kind of as expected. It's not much deviation. The German one is kind of the big one. As you can see, that's a double red. So that's the one that we're going to get the most impact off of. And then obviously we've got the pound to look after as well. So 8:30. So again, with the DAX, you're going to get volatility off the back of these figures. So we've double topped. So that trade was a double top rejection. Where we're going today, I couldn't tell you with any of these indices. So obviously we know we're looking for shorts. We're in a bear market. It's whether or not the earnings is going to give us that little push outside of the 72 or not. So we might have a good few days with unexpectedly good earnings, and then it'll come back down from there, or that might be it and we're going to have a poor earnings fortnight and we're going to dump. We don't know. So same with the NASDAQ and everything else. We've got a long way to go still. A long way to go still on the NAS, all the way down to pre-COVID levels. So we've got a potential high coming up there. We've filled the gap this morning. We filled the gap? No, we haven't filled the gap. Depending on what you're looking at, the futures market is completely different. So yeah, we have filled the gap there. Why is it not loading my NASDAQ data? So I'm just refreshing my chart. Yeah, there we go. Right. Okay. So it has filled the gap. My chart got stuck on Jigsaw. It's looking bearish today. Whoa, a massive load of orders just came in there. So I just saw my panel light up red. That was a big dump. I've been looking for shorts today on all of these. So just about to get a reverse alert on M15 on the NASDAQ. Again, NASDAQ pushed up on Friday. If you look at the actual price action, we've made a new lower low for 4 days on the trot now. We are not making new higher highs. So yes, we've gapped up outside of the highs today. There's a lot of sell orders coming into the market across all the indices at the minute. Lot of them. We got a strong US dollar, I would imagine. So we've got some strength coming in on the US. So yeah, big moves down. Sorry, on these, there's been new lower lows put in across the board. No new highs. We've gapped up. If we're going to continue that trend, it's going to be a big bear day today. So we'll see what happens. We've got no news from earnings today, so the market's free to do what it wants. They all look very similar. We've got the gap up. We're pushing back down again. With this is what I'm saying about the divergence that you get. The NASDAQ and the S&P you will usually find are virtually the same. The Dow, because it's such a small index, will usually be very out of whack. So the Dow gave us a massive bullish engulfing outside bar. And in fact, pretty much an outside week, really. If you discount Monday, Friday basically traded completely outside of the previous 3 days. Massively bullish. So you're going to get differences on the indices over earnings fortnight. It always happens because if a sector has good earnings and that sector is very heavy in the Dow, for example, which is in this case, we're getting good earnings coming out of industries that are Dow heavy, you're going to get bullish movement on one, which is way bigger than the rest. So you kind of, when you're watching the indices, and this is kind of why I'm trading the Dow at the moment, why I traded the Dow this morning, the Dow is the faster leader at the moment. It's the one that is getting most traction and getting the quickest movement. So the others are all a little bit laggy. So just be aware, it's going to be a little bit hit and miss today. Johannes, I missed the crickets on the side. Yeah, I haven't got the crickets on at the moment. I've cancelled my subscription to Tick Strike for the minute. Let's be doing a lot. Oh, there we go. There's some crickets coming in. For those that don't know what Tick Strike is, basically it's just an audible version of order flow. So obviously all these bear orders that came in there on the S&P, you just heard them coming in there. And obviously if we get a massive load of buy orders coming in, it'll tick up. But I'm not that active in futures at the moment. I'm only active in futures again now because obviously the evaluation I'm doing. My Apex account, by the way, I blew my Apex account. I don't even know if I mentioned that, did I? Can't remember. So yeah, it's too tight. Too tight. And this is the problem with Apex, and this is why I really like this new company if they are a decent company, is that you can get your money out straight away. The problem with Apex was always that 3-month payment. So if I had, as I had many times, a 2 or 3 or 5K plus month, I could only draw $1,000 of that out for the first month, and then another couple of thousand the second month. So if I had a pot there, you couldn't draw it out until month 3 in full, which causes you to continuously want to trade it and build the pot, which obviously causes you to blow it, which means that they don't have to pay you out on it. They still do pay you out on it, but obviously they don't have to pay you on any future, and then you go back to square one again, which is bad. But anyway, so yeah, that's why I haven't got tick strike on. I'm not going to put that on because it's just going to annoy everybody. Ticking away in the background. Right. So DAX, we're out the lows there. So if I would probably look for shorting opportunities today. So any kind of pullbacks, look for shorts. But we've got news in 7 minutes. So let's keep an eye on that. I'm just going to keep an eye on the on it on my other monitor. Right, so yeah, indices, obviously there's no way of forecasting indices for this week or next week, really. It's going to be earnings related, so they're going to go where the earnings goes. So depending on what's coming out each day, you're going to get different movement. So if everybody, if Google comes out missing target by 3% or something stupid, Nasdaq's tanking. I can't, you can't tell. Same with Microsoft, Spotify, all these guys, Meta. If they all come out and they miss their earnings, Nasdaq's going down. So whether or not it's coming to a technical level or not is irrelevant. It's all going to be driven by earnings this fortnight. Typically, as I say, earnings will tend to give you a rise and give you a push. We have a rally into earnings normally. This is the last earnings fortnight here. But the previous earnings fortnight was completely flip to that. This is the first one we've had since the interest rates and inflation have been at these levels. So there's a good chance that the quarterly reports are going to miss targets unless they adjusted their targets. I don't want to chase this, but we've just broken lows here. We're approaching the low of the day on the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's just made new lows of the day. So's the Dow. So's the S&P. So yeah, fairly big dumps. There's literally, I'm seeing nothing but short orders coming in. Nothing but short orders, as you can see. And this is the other thing about tick strike, which is, somebody said to me in the Telegram group the other day, how good is tick strike if you rate it 5 out of 5? Well, it's a 5, because tick strike, literally all it does is audibly tell you what you're seeing on your charts. So it's a 5-star product in the fact that it says it will tick every time large orders come in, and that's exactly what it does. How you use that information is entirely up to you, but tick strike does what it says on the tin. It makes a noise when there's big orders coming in. I can see that through order flow, and I can see that through the charts. Are we bull or bear heavy today? It's not. Everything tells you the same stuff. Tick strike just tells you audibly, and that's why I like it, because it's just that confirmation in the back of your ear that says, I'm hearing nothing but negative ticks today. I don't want to be hitting the long button on it. And your charts obviously will confirm that anyway. So yeah, bear today. See if this holds up. So we could get a rally off this. I don't know. It's a very difficult day today. We got news interfering with it. We got earnings interfering with it. There's no earnings releases today. So it's just it's a tricky old day today. So just be a bit careful out there. Oil, we had a bit of a mixed bag day. We had a bit of a mixed bag day the day before as well. So we had this big push up on oil, and then they came back, retraced the entire thing. Then we opened up and put in a spinning top. This morning, oil is falling out of bed dramatically. So difficult to tell what's going on with this thing as well at the minute. I so want to be long on this. It just so doesn't seem to be able to be getting a start. So this, I think, is the peak formation low. We've made that new high. We're pulling back. This is where I was expecting to start the next leg from, and it hasn't managed to get started. It's like a spluttering car this morning. So, well, at the moment, this is our target, $110 to $100 to 110 a barrel, which is in this propulsion gap. So yeah, looking for it to get up there, but no news this week apart from obviously oil inventories. no OPEC meetings or anything. It's just not kickstarting, is it? We're not getting anywhere with oil. So I think it's got a good chance. We've just had that reversal on, I think on the, yeah, it's on, where are we? Wednesday, Thursday last week, wasn't it? We had that reversal alert. That's where I was expecting us to start our new run from. We didn't. Just go from there. It just hasn't managed to get any impact, any movement. So let's see what happens when we get down to yesterday's low. If yesterday's low breaks and then we pull back and start looking down here, you would have to say it's staying in that bear run. But why? It's a supply and demand based commodity. It should be going up price, but it's not. It's a mystery. Oil really is a mystery. So I'm leaving it alone at the moment. But I'm bullish on it based on that movement. So we had the OPEC meetings. We had the cap, which comes into force in next week or the week after, I think. So they're capping production, which will obviously strangulate the supply. Demand is going to remain the same. Therefore, if you've got strangulated supply and excessive or normal demand, you can sell your oil for higher prices. That is what the market indicated was going to happen. And since then, we've had this. So if we are just looking at normal price action and market structure, this should be our pullback before we push back up again, because in 2 to 3 weeks' time, they're not going to output anymore. Therefore, it's just going to continue to go up. So they are going to output. They're just capping the output. So no reason oil shouldn't be bullish. It's just, it's just one of those things. And it's, like I say, I've said it many times, it's a bit like gold in the fact that it will just do what the hell it likes. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to follow the rules, so to speak. So, and I don't like things that don't follow the rules. And not necessarily not follow the rules, but just be very fast and reactive when they're not following the rules. Yeah, it's like gold goes, yeah, I'm long. Oh, hang on a minute, and then it goes like that, and you're like, well, what the hell? Yes, fine. If you're short and you want to gamble, you're going to make a lot of money doing that sometimes. But if you're position trading, this instability is not helpful at all. And oil has kind of proven itself to be a little similar in that respect. So anyway, so that's oil. We just had the German figures out, which I suspect are along the similar sort of lines. Yeah, so we got a negative on manufacturing. It's kind of, it's the opposite, isn't it? Negative services, positive manufacturing. Negative manufacturing, slight. It's negative services as well. So it's all down, Germany. So that's done to the DAX. Not a massive amount. So if you want to get in short on this, there's a propulsion gap there, which hasn't been drawn in for some reason. Why is it not drawing that propulsion gap in? Weird. Indicator malfunction there for some reason. So we've got a propulsion gap there. That wick. So that's where I'll be looking to short out of. So if we come back and retest the opening range low, that'd be a nice little short opportunity. It could just collapse from there. The strength of this movement this morning is obviously, it's not interested in going long, is it? Right. So looking at the ADR dash, there's not much point in going through these ADRs today, I don't think. They're obviously the vast majority of everything you can see on here is yen based. Yeah, so it's yen, 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 yen. We've got Aussie dollar Swiss. So the rest of it is Swiss franc. Apart from the pound odd and euro odd. Yes, we had those movements as well, didn't we? So so there's quite a few potential opportunities on ADRs, but That's not a bad looking opportunity. Euro Swiss, odd Swiss. So we just got that propulsion gap fill. Nice accumulation break, accumulation push. We've reacted off of it once, but sellers seem to be firmly in control at the moment. But you've got nice support levels coming. So for starting a position, if you were interested in Aussie Swiss long, that's not looking like a bad entry there. So I'm not going to go through all of these. You can see which ones are extended. The vast majority of this is based off the yen. We've got the euro odd, because I'm going to go through all the pairs anyway. We've got the euro odd, obviously, which is pushing up at the moment. Australian dollar weak, as we know, because my Aussie New Zealand is going underwater fast. Euro Swiss, that was that manipulation that we had with the where the yen moved. So that was money. I would just imagine this is Swiss franc. If we look at all the Swissies, you probably find, oh no, that one didn't move. CAD Swiss did. Swiss yen obviously will have done. Euro Swiss moved. Pound Swiss had a bit of volatility as well. And US dollar Swiss as well. So yeah, there's a lot of money you can see being pumped in and out of the Swiss franc at the same time as the yen was being manipulated. So some of these ADRs, you know, it's all manipulation. This isn't just normal price action. You know, this isn't us getting up to our average daily range and then doing this. This is just crazy manipulation in the Asian session. So you can kind of ignore all of those. Aussie New Zealand, massive extension on the 4 hours still. Same massive. It's not a massive extension, but it is extended. Yeah, we got down here. We got extended. This is where I started getting interested in this, obviously looking for the 72 bounce. Then we had the Australians stupidly increase their rates by less than expected. We had good positive New Zealand figures coming in, and it's just the perfect storm where it was just, you know, the thing's collapsing. So we've been embedded down here for ages. We just managed to looked like we were about to start that rally, and they squashed it, and we're coming back down again. So it looks like we're going to get an ADR hit today. So as I said, on the Aussie New Zealand, we've got levels coming up now at 100 and 125-ish ADR. So we've got decent levels of support coming up. There's also this level down here as well, where we've reacted as well. So we've got some decent levels between 100 and 175 ADR. So this is kind of, at the moment, I've only got 3 positions on it, plus that little extra one I put on. So I'm actually, this is a manual, obviously, and I'm a bit over leveraged now because of my manual intervention. So lesson learned there. Stick to the EA. But yeah, so that one is obviously a little extra. So I'm going to start, I wouldn't normally get aggressive after having 3 positions on, but I'm a little bit over where I want to be position size on this one. So I'm going to see what happens when we get down to these levels, if we get down to these levels today, and might try and get something aggressive on this one with a view to getting, you know, a nice quick pullback that I can use to profit take just to get that position off, really. So it's not, I mean, it's not big position, as you can see. It's only worth, I mean, that's only that's only a 1/3% down there. It's not a big not a big issue, but I just kind of want to get that off. So I'll see what happens if we get down there. So obviously if we get an alert on the Aussie New Zealand, I'll be looking into taking something a little bit more aggressive on that one today. Just watching the DAX. Okay, so the DAX has just pulled back into the propulsion gap, which hasn't drawn. It's because this is using the WRB indicator. One of the rules with the WRB, the wide range bar, is the size of the actual candle as well. I can't remember what it is, but this candle, and actually no, it does meet that requirement. This candle, I think, has to be larger than the preceding. is it 2 or 3? I think it might be the preceding 3 candles, in which case obviously this is smaller than that. That is why that WRB hasn't drawn. And the reason this look back is there is because of what I keep saying about, see this one here. This candle is bigger than that one, and that one. Bigger than this one here. So therefore it's wide range bar. The reason being is because what we're looking for with wide range bars is accumulation break, and the break to be faster and harder than the accumulation. This is not that, is it? This is just a A-shaped reversal. But saying that, you're going to find a load of sellers in there, obviously, aren't you? So, and we're looking at the rejection there. So that's a good place to start looking at shorts. We've got 1 minute left on this candle. If this is a bearish rejection, this could well be where we're starting to move down from targets. I would say somewhere around about 126.93. Just looking at these highs, it's the obvious spot for a good target. Just going to go short one on the futures, and I'm going to add a couple. So on the futures, basically, because I'm trading micros, I scale into the position. So I take a little starter with 1, and when it starts to work, I sprinkle contracts. So I've got another 3 sprinkled. I've got one, probably one somewhere like there, because I'm not using candlesticks. I can't really tell you because I'm using a ladder. I've got one there. I've got one probably somewhere around there. And I've got one somewhere around there. Right. So that's your 4 hours. Nothing much particularly interesting there. Hourlies is flat, which is quite surprising. The hourly 14s, we've got obviously Aussie New Zealand as well. Aussie New Zealand is extended, as we know. We've got the pound odd, which has hit ADR as well. That's tapped straight into Thursday's high and rejected. We are still looking at a bullish candle here. So it has rejected nicely. So you probably had an M5 reversal alert. Oh no, you haven't had a reverse alert on that yet because this move was so strong this morning. So pound odd is extended. Pound, I still am bearish on this. So we've got obviously the leadership. We've only got Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt going for the new PM. And morning, Steve. I didn't say hello to you this morning from sunny Spain. We've got the PM leadership race today. If Penny Mordaunt can't get 100 MPs behind her, Rishi Sunak is going to be crowned this afternoon. So, which I think would be good because it's the previous Chancellor, obviously in charge of finances, coming in to take over the country, which is in a financial crisis, with a really good Chancellor. So we got basically a double Chancellor in charge of the country, which is going to be good for us. Whether or not it's going to be good for the pound, though, is we don't know. So I don't suspect we're going to get any movement on the pound today because whoever comes into power has got nothing to do with the finances. On the Monday, the 31st, that's when the Chancellor is announcing the budget. And that is when we're going to find out what exactly is going on financially moving forward. That's when we're going to start to see some movement. So the pound, I'm still bearish. Obviously, the Aussie dollar is weak at the minute, which is why the pound is getting this little run. But I'm still bearish on this. So we are very nicely extended. So it's a good little short opportunity there. And obviously, there's good support, resistance levels potentially coming up. If we get a run up into 175, 200 ADR, I can't see why we would today, but you never know. At the moment, anything can happen. So yeah, we've got pound odd extended to the upside like it's short. We have, however, for the last week, just come down and filled all the propulsion gaps off of this move. So, and we've gapped up as well. So we've got a few gaps on these pounds as well. Gaps get filled, we know that, so it's another reason to be bearish on it. And we got pound CAD, which is extended as well. Again, gap not filled. Very rare we don't get gaps fill, and that's coming down quite nicely, that one. Morning, Tony. What do you think of keeping an eye on the Dixie before you go long or short on the indices? Yeah, you can keep an eye on the Dixie. Basically, the indices do the inverse to the Dixie. So the euro US dollar is the Dixie upside down. So I can tell you at the moment the Dixie is going up because the euro US dollar is going down, which means that your indices will be getting a, sorry, I'm doing upside down. This is going down, so the Dixie is going up, so the indices are going down. So at the moment, we've got a push happening. So we should have bearish movement on the indices. Yeah. So yeah, you can use this, but the reason, the only way really to use the Dixie, I haven't got the Dixie on here. I've got the Dixie on my Axie brokerage, but the only real reason you can use the Dixie from a forecasting perspective is if you see the Dixie coming down or going up, in this case very hard, i.e. euro US dollar going down, and this isn't moving, you can say, right, well, this is likely now to be reacting inverse to this, and we've just got a bit of a delay. So it gives you that little kind of arbitrage. But other than that, I don't see any advantage in using anything in Confluence. If you're going to trade indices, you want to be watching all of the indices and looking for one that starts to run. So if the they're all moving at the same pace at the minute, but let's say, for example, the Dow suddenly goes vroom, like that, and then you flick over and you look at the S&P and the NASDAQ, and they haven't done that. I would say probably a 90% certainty they will. It's just that the Dow's got a run on them. That's how you use indices. You could also use the Dixie, and if the Dixie suddenly goes mental like that and the indices haven't dropped yet, short them because they're going to. Yeah, that's really the only use. From a forecasting perspective, especially this next 2 weeks, you can't forecast anything with the indices because it's nothing to do with anything but earnings. If earnings come out good, they go up. If earnings come out bad, they go down. That's it. It's literally that simple at the moment. You've got big companies like Facebook, Twitter, and all these big companies that are sitting right at the top of the NASDAQ. When they get their earnings come out, they will on their own move the NASDAQ for the day. When you look at the indices, yes, they're made up, NASDAQ's made up of 100 different stocks, but the weighting is not 1% on each. Facebook's weighting on the NASDAQ is more than 1%. If they have a 10-15% weighting on the NASDAQ and they come out with positive earnings, NASDAQ's going up. Doesn't matter what the rest are doing, it's going up. So what the Dixie does that day doesn't matter. But in a normal sort of day, then yeah, I would say, yeah, it's worth doing. Worth watching. Watch as much as you can. The more chart time you have, the more you see things moving. You'll suddenly notice a big move in the Dixie, and you'll be looking at it and right, okay, that's moved, and then all of a sudden that will go like that, and you're like, wow. After you've seen that happen 10, 15, 20 times over a period of a month or 2 months or however long it takes for that amount of times to happen, you're suddenly you'll know. And this is where discretionary. This is why I don't teach anything specific on scalping, because it's discretionary. I know things are going to happen because I get a feeling they're going to happen. I get a feeling this was going to do this, which is why I'm short, because I've seen it so many times play out. Your brain, you just get wired to do it. You become autopilot. And the more you watch, the more charts you watch at the same time, the more of these intricacies you'll see. They all move slightly differently. Normally the NASDAQ, so like what I would normally do if I'm trading in the afternoons, I have mainly the NASDAQ and the Dow next to each other. And I have the S&P up in the middle as well, but I have these two guys next to each other. If I see the NAS fly, I'll quickly hit the button on the Dow, because the Dow is normally dragging behind the NAS. At the moment, it's the other way around. The Dow is ahead of the NAS, which can really screw you up. But just, watch them all. You can't go wrong if you're watching everything. It will lead you to overtrade, but don't, as long as you're disciplined. Pick one instrument. That's what I would say. I literally, when I'm scalping, I very rarely scalp anything but the DAX and the Dow. They're my main vehicles. I watch them all, but you only really need to trade one instrument in the morning, one instrument in the evening. So I've got 4 short on the. I've got 4 short on this now. I'm just watching. I'm nearly break even on it. So because I'm trading the Dow. The Dow, again, this is another reason. The Dow looks different. If you see here, obviously here we're looking at the DAX, yeah. If you look at the Dow, we've just double bottomed, which is why I'm looking potentially to get out of this. Yeah, so this is why, you know, you concentrate on one instrument. They all move very similarly, but this is bouncing off of a double bottom. This isn't. Yeah, so we've got divergence across these, as you would expect. One's German index and one's the US index, and we're in Frankfurt at the moment, so the German one is the one in charge. But that obviously is a price action, so a lot of people have got a lot of limit orders buying up the lows, which is why I'm just being a little bit cautious. I just want to see this close lower. 13 seconds. Okay, so I don't mind if we come and tap up into this area, but I want to see this area rejected on this 5-minute candle. Otherwise, I'm $100 up and $49 in drawdown at the minute, so I don't want to. I don't want to let this run away. Sorry, right. So while I'm watching that, so I can watch it on my ladder anyway, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, all of those hourlies we've covered. So I'm just going to run through all the pairs basically this morning, just see if there's any opportunities on anything else. Nothing much moving at the minute on this yen. So this one, I'm just going to quickly cover. First of all, I'm just going to do the yens this morning. Just because obviously they're very easy. I haven't got a clue what they're going to do. And there's one of two things is going to happen. This intervention is going to hold. And we are on the second intervention that we've had this morning. We are going to get a follow through. So the previous intervention was just a single intervention. Yeah. So we just had that one move. And then they waited to see what happened. The market went, well, you're not going to step in, are you? So we'll just keep rallying against you. This time, what they've done is they intervened on Friday and they intervened this morning. And the market at the moment has completely undone that second intervention. So we are either going to see a further intervention and then give the market a clear message that it is not acceptable to go any higher. And then we will start a little bit of a rally on the yen, or we're just going to see that and we're just going to trade back to where we were, and then we'll see what they do next. So I'm just going to quickly just getting out of that Dow. Yes, so out the Dow. So I just basically just got out there. With futures, yeah, the difference between me getting out here and getting out here is $600. So, you know, futures is a completely different game. when you're forced to trade contracts, you're limited to your sizing, and when you're scaling into positions, obviously it can be very harmful. So it's better to get out. And if this comes down, it comes down, fine. I've lost nothing, I've won nothing this morning. But what I don't want to do is be stuck up here and us basically do that this morning. We've got more news coming out at 9:30 with the pound as well. That will obviously also have an impact. We are holding this level. So looking basically for sellers in here to take control. Here's a good example actually of that WRB rule. So there's your candle that caused the propulsion move. That was 96 pips. This one, this big one up, was only 97. Is that right? I'll have to look at. I can't remember exactly what the WRB rule is. It's to do with the size of this candle and the previous ones, and I can't remember what the look back is on it. I don't think there's a setting. Oh yeah, 3. There you go. So there's your look back count. So you can change it in there. I'll have to play around with that, but yeah, that's why that one's drawn. It didn't draw on the Nasdaq. So we are holding this level. So this is where, if we're going to continue the downward move today, this is where I would want to see the sellers stepping in. At the moment, they're holding it, but we will see if they can continue. So yes, yens. Going back to the yens again. We don't know what's going to happen with this one. So it's either going to pull back. It's going to depend on what's going to obviously happen with the US dollar as well. So we had a bearish US dollar on Friday. If we have a bullish US dollar today, it's going to help. But this is what they will be monitoring the vast majority of the time, the US dollar yen. And obviously the difference in movement on this one compared to the other yen pairs is because when they are going to manipulate that, a lot of the transactions will be done in dollars. So as people or the Bank of Japan heavily buys yen, they will use US dollar to do it. So that's why you get this much bigger movement, US dollar yen, because this is the main currency used to do these transactions. So you'll see on these other yens, this violent move that we had. If you look at other things, you'll find there's some of them are a lot less, like the Aussie yen. Yeah, that movement is a lot lighter, a lot less. New Zealand yen, because they weren't using Aussie dollars and New Zealand dollars to transact when they did the intervention. So yeah, all of these, be careful. There's two really easy trades. You can either fade this, or you can go for that. The fade, obviously, if the fade trade is going to happen, you know exactly where it's going. If the intervention trade is going to happen, no idea, which is why I'm just holding it. I've no idea where it's going, and I'll just keep at some point it'll get to, if this one works out and it goes short, at some point it will get to me opening up the P&L and going, I can't bear it anymore. I literally cannot sit and look at 5.5% without taking it off the board, and I will. I don't know where it's going to get to, but for me it's a case of that's what I need to keep on top of. If this gives me 5.5% and takes that to 1.5%, I can close the whole lot out, walk away, and have a 35% month. That's what I'm doing. You'll be in a different position to me. So you just trade your portfolio, trade your way. But I'm hoping that we do get the intervention now. They've been promising it and talking about it for such a long time, and this was a biggie, wasn't it? Friday's, without a shadow of a doubt, is the biggest intervention we've had. So they're not mucking about this time. But we will see. They are notorious for doing nothing about what they say they're going to do. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing. Huge whipsaw. They took out all the liquidity and obviously came and moved back up, and business as usual. We're back to where we were. So that didn't work. Pound yen, slightly smaller move. Pulled back up, completely undone. Euro yen, yeah, Swiss yen. CAD yen, a little bit more like the US dollar and the Aussie yen. So again, this is the big one, because this is obviously, we were having the situation where we had a weak US dollar caused by the intervention, and the fact that we just had some weak US dollar at the time as well. This is the big collapse. So it's whether or not this can recover. There's a lot of funds underwater at the moment in this. So they will have a vested interest in getting this back up there by hook or by crook. Whether or not they can, because if they turn around and go, no, that's it. Those funds are going to hurt. Nothing they can do about it. So we will see. It's a battle of the Fed against the Bank of Japan at the minute with those. So up to you with the yens. If I wasn't in this for this speculative short, this was a 225 ADR short. I had a stop on it, and it was just pure speculative because I thought something was coming. I didn't obviously anticipate it being that big, but you know, if I wasn't in it, I wouldn't be getting into it personally, because you've got as much chance of red or black in a casino, haven't you, at the minute on these? So, so that's all your yens. Aussie's massively weak at the minute. We can't get any strength on the Aussie dollar. They screwed up their rates. Well, they didn't screw their rates up. They just decided not to put their rates up by 0.5%, which everybody else has been doing and everybody was anticipating, including all the banks. And they didn't do it. So obviously it's had a negative impact on the Aussie. The Aussie's still coming down. Aussie New Zealand, we had a New Zealand dollar, a rally of New Zealand dollar news and good stuff happening on the New Zealand dollar at the same time as we had this all happening. Therefore, obviously this has been a much bigger drop than I was anticipating. But you can see on everything else, yeah, we've got the Aussie's not strong, but it's, you know, it's not massively weak either. We have got some movement on this, which is, you know, sort of sideways, slightly bullish. So it just so happens that the New Zealand dollar is massively stronger than the Aussie at the minute. So at some point, they're going to turn the tap off on this and they're going to start to do a profit take move. Assuming we have some strength on the Aussie at the same time, we are going to get this pullback. It's just if something comes out that weakens the Aussie at the same time, all we're going to get is a sideways movement on this. A little bit like what we had there. But, you know, we've had multiple legs now moving down. Yeah, this is, I would say, has got to be the last one before we get a deeper pullback on this. So hence me being a little bit more aggressive. I'd love to see them get down to these support levels today. If we can get these support levels started today, that's where I'm interested in longs. If it comes and pulls back up into there, that's fine. I'll wait and then see what happens next. But I'll be watching these areas keenly today for longs. Aussie US is a short based on US dollar strength, obviously. And again, we need to wait and see what happens. The yen is going to determine what happens to the US dollar. If the yen is going to get powered up and people are going to start pumping into the yen, because they are making it happen, the US dollar is likely going to be weaker. Whether it is weakened enough that it will start to lose against currencies like the Australian dollar remains to be seen. It's going to take the Fed to be pretty dovish to really make that happen, I think. So we should still continue to get the US dollar dominating all other currency, even if the yen does power up. But it would just obviously put the brakes on a bit, which is fine, because if it pulls up into here, it gives us a beautiful opportunity for a short, doesn't it? For when they do power back up again. So yeah, any kind of pullback on this, on the hourly. In fact, you had an entry this morning on the hourly if you're up in Asia, which is playing out beautifully. So that was a lovely little entry this morning. 5-minute reversal alert was right up there. That's where I took the pound US dollar. So I mean, you wouldn't have got in till there, but I mean, you're still well in this morning, aren't you? So yeah, Aussie US, Aussie dollar Swiss again, Swiss franc, very erratic, but you know, the Swiss banking system is great in the respect of it will power up and it will just smash whatever you're trading against it. So there's no reason why they shouldn't remain strong. The interest rates are good. Inflation isn't great, but it's not hideous. Yeah, as it should continue to batter down the Aussie, but you're going to get these pullbacks. These are your entries, but I wouldn't want to be trading against it at the moment. So shorts on that one, looking for entries. And again, you had an entry this morning on that one. Just about. That was the entry. You see, I took that one last week. That was the one that I was interested in, which I got out of. But there was these any entries that you're seeing happening in the first hour or so of Asia and the last bit of the day. It's unlikely you would get those realistically unless you're using the EA. Obviously, the EA will get you into them anyway, but manual trading, you're not going to get these. And that's a good point, because when you're back testing, this is something we don't pay attention to, do we? We pay attention to market conditions. You don't pay attention to whether you're asleep or not. If you're asleep, you're not trading it unless you're using an EA, are you? So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss. So I just got some decent movement. It's holding fairly well. So that double bottom on the Dow, we've just double bottomed on the DAX. We're putting in an outside bar. So a lot of volatility just coming to the market, but no directional bias yet. We've got a minute. This could be the start of the next flush here, because they've just cleared the decks. So let's keep an eye on indices for shorts. I'm just putting one on. Dow, short. Getting back in. I can't trade the DAX on futures, by the way. That's why I'm not trading the DAX. But I would be trading the DAX. Right. So that's all the Aussies. CAD Swiss. This one's a bit tricky at the moment. It's kind of the longest ever flag in the world, isn't it? And it's not breaking. So we're getting a nice little bull run from the CAD Swiss, but very, very orderly. So I'm obviously bearish at the moment on this, but if you look at where we've just stopped, there is potential that this is going to be a sort of double bottom bounce. 125 ADR on the euro odd. Oh. I'll come back to that in a sec. Let's just have a quick look at the euro odd. So Australian dollar still weakening. We're coming straight up into this big old propulsion gap. This is probably rallying. The euro is probably rallying off the back of these numbers, which aren't particularly good. So no, it's not the euro rallying. It's the Australian dollar weakening and the New Zealand. So it's the Asian pairs weakening, basically. So CAD Swiss. So we're just approaching lows of day on the indices. I like this as a short still at the minute, but as I say, there's potential that we are coming down to an area of support that's going to hold. So if we're going to start a range, we could potentially get a move up to those highs. If we're going to continue on our bearish move, obviously you can see what we're doing. Yeah, so this is where we're going to hold. So it's difficult to tell at the moment, but if you're bearish on it, this is exactly where you want to be getting in. Yeah, we've got loads of rejection wicks on this. This thing's been rejecting these highs over and over and over again. Every time we've tried to push higher, we've stopped. Not interested, not interested, not interested, not interested. Yeah. Breaking this low, getting that 4-hour reversal alert could well open the floodgates to come back down and retest those lows. So looks good for shorts right now if you're trading this. And And as soon as we get some Swiss franc strength coming through, which we're getting off the back of the euro movement this morning, that thing's going to potentially come down very nicely. OddCAD, so again there, we've got Australian dollar weakness. So we've got the ADR on that. So Aussie New Zealand, there's the Aussie US hit as well. Aussie New Zealand pushing up. So that's a really weak New Zealand dollar. We've got massive weakness on the New Zealand dollar. That's what's causing all this movement. So that's good. Reverse alert just potentially about to go in on the Aussie New Zealand. So yeah, euros. Is that where I was? Yeah, euros. Come on, brain. What was CAD Swiss? Was not, yeah. So CAD Swiss, like that short. All the euros. So again, this week is a big one for the euro. We've got the rate on Thursday morning. Sorry, Thursday afternoon. 0.75 increase. So that's a biggie. If they deliver this, that will be very, very good. So you can see, obviously, as we know, we were stuck on zero rates for many, 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 many years. So we're going back to, when did we move? On this 2016. So 6 years ago, we've had 6 years of zero rate. And then obviously with what's going on with inflation and everything, we went from, right, we're going to definitely start to increase them to, we're going to go faster and harder than previous. So we went from a 0.25 and we delivered a 0.5. Now we're forecast a 0.75. We were delivered a 0.75. Now we're forecast a 0.75 again. If we get delivered that 0.75, I get the feeling we're going to start to see a little bit more bullish action coming on the euro. As we can see, it's liked it so far, but we've had massive weakness on a lot of the other things against the euro. So the euro's managed to gain ground pretty much across the board, but not the Australian and the New Zealand, because they've been massively weak, the ones where it's got the most traction against. But if you look at everything else, US dollar hasn't touched it. Yen obviously is a different kettle of fish. Pound has been massively weak, sideways. Yeah, so a weak currency against a weak currency gives us an accumulation. That tells you that the euro is also weak. The Swiss franc, we haven't really made any progress. We had a little pop, and since then we've literally just managed to move that far. So we've gone kind of, where are we now? There. Since the last rates, we just haven't really moved, have we? Yeah, about an ADR. We haven't made any ground. So again, not particularly strong, is it, the euro? Against the Canadian dollar, yes, it's made some ground, but look at how difficult it's been. Yeah, we're not going like that. We are struggling like a car spluttering down the road to try and get higher. So it isn't actually that strong when you look at it. Things like the Aussie and the New Zealand, obviously, because they've been massively weakened. Yes, it is. Just attempting new lows on the indices, US indices. Just made new lows. Come on. So I've got 7 short on it. So I just want to watch this a sec. 1 sec. Yeah, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out a break even on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I've just put my commission as well. I've just put my break evens on my contracts. I'd like to see that flush. It's not flushing, is it? We're holding here. The bear's having a tough time this morning. I'm 3 ticks, literally 3 ticks away. Oh, I'm out. There you go. Just as I put it in there, I'm out. There you go. Right. Concentrate again now. Cancel pendings. Right. So yeah, euros. So I don't particularly think at this moment in time it is massively strong. But if we get that that interest rate change, it's going to cause an economic slowdown. Obviously, the more you put interest rates up, the more chance of recession you get, but you will batter down inflation. So it's a double-edged sword, basically. The inflation figures are what is going to pump a currency. The interest rate rises will tend to sort of soften, stroke, deaden it. But overall, it's going to be good because you're going to get on top of inflation faster, which means that the problems you're going to experience are going to be slower, are going to be solved quicker. So you're going to have less recession. So it's difficult to know what's going to happen on Thursday. If we don't get what they are forecasting, we could see a dump in the euro, I think. So we just have to wait and see. The market at the moment, until that happens, we're probably going to find it's going to be sideways for euro. So I wouldn't expect to make any new highs, and the lows that we've just got there, I wouldn't expect that to break. So we will bounce around in there, I think, this week. I've got Euro Swiss on as a short at the moment. If I can get a move down on this, we get some Swiss franc strength that gets me out of this, I will go flat on this ahead of Thursday. So all of them at the moment, ever so slightly bullish, but very high potential for it to still have a big bearish move. So I really don't know with the euros what to do at the moment. So I'm not doing anything. And I'll wait for the rate announcements to come out. But things like euro US dollar, no problem shorting that. Because even if the euro does get more bullish, it's it's going to take something pretty dramatic for the US dollar to become weaker than the euro. So with all of those, up to you really. It's speculative. This is whether your trade is profitable or not is not going to be controlled by anything but that. So, you're getting into the market 3 days ahead of a major moving in news announcement. So it's either going to be a fundamental shift in your direction or against your direction, and you need to deal with it accordingly. But if you want to use a stop on these, if you're looking at higher time frames really, and you think we're going to get a negative move on the euro, get in now with a stop above the highs. Obviously, bear in mind they might manipulate it and then drop it, in which case you're going to get stopped out anyway. But yeah, I like it. I still like it short, and I still think you've got with all of these euros, you've got a good chance of any time it gets extended of it weakening. Yeah, because there's not enough strength in the euro to sustain a run. The only time you're going to get into trouble is if the other currency massively weakens, in which case then yes, you are going to. But look at it every time it got extended. Yeah, bang, bang. It's finding it very difficult to make headway against anything, and it's stalled out now. So I like them all shortish, but wait until Thursday really, I think, on these. Intraday, obviously, do what you like. Intraday, you want to be playing highs and lows. So if we get up and double top it, short it. If we get down to here, double bottom it. Because it's unlikely to go anywhere outside of a range until Thursday. Oh, you cow. Meh. Just taking 2 contracts short. scattering some more positions. Looks like we are going to break. So DAX probably going to come and retest the lows. So I'll be watching the DAX. Oh, that's annoying. I've just had a load of buy orders coming in as well. Sorry. Multitasking. Right, so that's the euros. All of them, as I say, I don't really think we should be getting involved any more than we are already if you're already in euros ahead of the news. And we'll wait and see whether or not they do get that 0.75 rate increase. They delivered it last time, so why the hell not? Yeah, so every opportunity for them to actually try and get ahead, and I think Lagarde will probably take it. So we will see what happens there. And the Canadian dollar, obviously, you need to be aware of theirs as well. On Wednesday, they're going for the 0.5. If we look at the CAD rates, again, we don't often get an unexpected move. We got a little bit higher than expected in July. September, they delivered as expected with 0.75. They're going for 0.5 this time. So, you know, you find when you get to these fours, the banks will start to slow down. When you start getting to 4.5%, 5%, that means your mortgages are now costing sort of 10% plus quite often. It's too much for the market to bear. So a sec. Did I just get out? Oh my word. Sorry, I just I'm not concentrating. I shouldn't try and trade too many things at once. I just got out of my positions short on the on the Dow. Accidentally. You know, I said I just sprinkled a load of short orders below these lows. I didn't. I sprinkled buy orders and I've just got myself out of the position. Yes, I made $19, but that wasn't. I was looking at it. It was like, where's my orders gone? Multitasking. I'm a man, remember. I don't do multitasking. So yeah, so euros, we'll see, and obviously the CAD. I think we're going to start to slow down a lot of these ones that are getting up to these high rates. So for the CAD, I think we'll probably see a fairly weak reaction to the rate announcement. Because obviously there's uncertainty with what's going on with the US dollar at the minute and this yen thing. So the CAD will get dragged along with the yen and the US dollar. So I'm not sure that we're going to get a lot of movement off of that CAD announcement, but we will see. We'll probably get some. We'll get a spike, but I don't think we'll get any directional movement off of it unless they do something crazy. So looking at the Euro CAD, obviously we've got rate announcement followed by rate announcement on this one. I think there's a good chance of a double top opportunity on that to continue this move down from where we are at the moment. So we've come up, we've double topped, we've pushed back down nicely, we've pushed back up again. Market said no again. If we get up there again, I suspect that'll be the final straw and we'll get that move bound starting. So this one could be quite good to watch this week, and we'll have a look at this one again on Wednesday. Oh, that's really annoying. It's coming down hard now. We'll have a look at this again on Wednesday and see where we're going ahead of the CAD announcement. The pounds, again, these will be driven, as you can see, with the Australian dollar at the moment. These will be driven by the other currency. So the Australian dollar at the moment weakening, therefore pound odd going up. We've got a gap to fill on this, on all these pounds. We've got a little gap to fill, which is nice. We don't often see gaps on FX that are unfilled. Some of these are filled though. New Zealand's filled and the US is filled already. Well, not quite, but near as damn it. So 31st of October is our deadline here. So Monday. Really? You're not putting that in the calendar? All right, okay, fine. Obviously, you don't think it's important. I think it's probably the most important thing that's going to happen this month. So yeah, Monday, obviously with the pound, Monday the 31st, next Monday, week today, we have the announcement for the budget. So what Jeremy Hunt delivers on Monday is going to have a long-term fundamental impact on the pound. So at the moment, I've got exposure short on the pound. So I'm going to continue with this pound US dollar, obviously, I've got, and the pound Swiss. I want to be flat by the end of next week. Christ, that was a big dump. That was nice. Never mind. So I want to get out of my pound positions ahead of Monday. Same as with the US dollar yen trade that I took. If you want to take a speculative one with a short and you want to get into a position on it ahead of Monday, do it, because it could go either way. I get the feeling the markets are going to like what Jeremy Hunt has to say because they hated what Liz Truss said. He's undone everything that Liz Truss said, so he cannot implement the stuff that she wanted to implement because he knows the market is going to react like that. So his remit is to solve the problem by doing the right thing, which is probably going to be bullish for the pound on Monday. So I want to try and get flat on all the pound pairs this week. Looking at the strength and weakness of everything at the moment, obviously the Australian dollar at the moment is very weak. The CAD and the US are the strong ones, and the yen, who knows what's going on with this one. It could be completely different this afternoon to this morning, couldn't it? So if you're going to trade something on the pound, you want to try and find something that is going to be fairly weak to trade against. So the Australian and the New Zealand dollar for longs. You can see there's a lot of positioning at the moment going on with these anyway. The Aussie and the New Zealand are weak. New Zealand even more so at the moment. So if we're going to get a run on these highs, you could start getting into positions on these long now, but you want to be using stops on obviously everything. And the ideal would be get yourself into a position, get yourself into a little bit of profit ahead of it and get a break even on before Monday, because when he announces it, it's going to go mental. And we don't know whether it's going to go that way or that way. Your head, I mean, would say we've just made new lows on the Dow. And all the US indices. Your head would say it's got to be long because, as I said, everything she did tanked the market. He's not going to want to do that. He's not going to want to get the Bank of England intervening, is he? So you've got to say everything has got to be this. It looks like it's going to be more taxation on rich people. So the higher income earners, putting more tax onto them rather than scrapping it, which is what Liz Truss did, which I think is probably, to be honest, the best way out of this situation. Raise funds as fast as possible, get us out of this hole as fast as possible. Yes, we're all going to be poorer for a couple of years, but hey, what the hell? Let's do it. So I like the idea of going long on the pound for Monday. However, it does not change the fact that we are screwed. We are still screwed. So inflation was forecast to go up to 20%. Things that were going to be changed, like the cap on energy, would bring our inflation down to something like 15%. This is still a hideous number. This is not changing. Yeah, the pound is still, we are going to go into recession. It's going to be painful. It's all going to contract. The economy is going to contract. It's not going to be good. That's not good for the pound. So whether the budget does that for a little bit and then continues, or we get, yeah, that looks great, Jeremy, but it's not really going to get us out of the problem, and it does that, I don't know. And this is what we're not going to know until next week. So from a position trading perspective, and a long-term forecast perspective, right now I'm short pound. Where I will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I couldn't say. So there's no point in me getting into any pound positions now because I don't know what I'm going to be doing with them. And I don't want to get into any pound positions. If he comes out and says something groundbreaking that actually means, wow, you're really going to be able to drop our inflation forecast to 5% within 2 years, the market's going to love it. And if it does, if you're on the wrong side of this with a position trade, you're going to be in trouble, aren't you? So just be very careful with these. As I say, the pound US I've got is in profit at the minute. And the pound Swiss isn't. So I'll be watching and managing these. If I'm not out of any of these by Friday, I will have stops, hard stops in place for Monday, because if it's going to go nuts, I'm out. I want out. And yeah, I'm going to take a hit on it because I don't want to get stuck the wrong side of it. It's not worth the pain. So, and obviously I'm in a good position this month. So all the pounds, I can't really tell you what I would do with them at the minute because I'm not going to do anything with them. I'm going to hold the ones I've got. We've got a lovely US dollar this morning against the CAD. I'm just going to hold the ones we've got and see what happens on Monday next week. So we might get a bit of fluctuation today. Depends what happens with Rishi Sunak. I'm not sure what's going on at the moment with Penny Mordaunt, whether she's actually going to get enough votes to run. For those that don't know what's going on, obviously we've got a rudderless ship at the moment. Liz Truss has resigned, and we had 3 candidates in the mix. Boris has pulled out, which is fine. We've got Penny Mordaunt running and Rishi Sunak running. They've got to get 100 MPs behind them out of 337 or however many there are. If they get 100 behind them, that's it. They can run for prime ministership. If they don't get 100 behind them by the end of today, they can't. So Richie's got well over 100. Penny Mordaunt hasn't. There's still a good couple of 100 MPs out there that could get behind one or the other. So it's where it goes this morning is going to determine whether or not Richie's in by the end of the day or whether he's in by Friday. Which either way, I think Richie's probably going to get it, but we'll see. So if that is announced, we'll probably get, some volatility. But whoever gets into power has no impact whatsoever on this. The only thing that's going to impact this is Monday when the budget is announced by the Chancellor. So if you see a load of stuff going on, it's just movement manipulation. It's not necessarily going to be... Something's going on with the pound at the moment, isn't it? We just got a gap down there. Oh, it's our PMIs. Sorry. Paying attention. Not good. This is what I mean. It doesn't matter what you say. We're still not in a good position. Yeah. If we get a good budget, it doesn't help our position right this second, does it? So, Diamond, Boris pulled out. That's why we gapped up on the pound. Probably. Yeah. Yes, that could well be it. That happened on. I think he announced that last night. My financial juice doesn't go back that far. Yeah, there you go. So it's 9:18 last night. Johnson withdraws from the Conservative leadership election. And this is the one. This is what I was saying about the what Hunt is going to do. So the Halloween budget could hit high earners with 20 billion of tax rises. This is the thing that we need to know. What is he classing as a high earner? I class myself as a high earner because I'm in the higher rate tax bracket, but I'm not a millionaire. So is he classing a high earner as people that have got loads and loads and loads and loads of money, or is he classing it as anybody that's earning above the 20% rate? In which case, that's going to hurt a lot of people. So we need to know the details of this, but it's all tax, which I think is probably the right way to do it. And a lot of people do, which is why Liz's stuff didn't work. So yeah, nice little push down there on the pound. But again, nothing dramatic. So pounds, be very careful. New Zealand CAD, I've got a short on at the minute. Liked this one. Obviously, you can see New Zealand CAD want to be selling. So love this pullback that we had up into these highs. Got a second position on it up there. I already had one that I'd taken off. So New Zealand dollar CAD, yeah, shorts. Got into this one because we were extended here. So yeah, that's going very nicely at the minute. But long term, I can see this continuing to come back down, tapping into these highs, tapping into this area balance. So hopefully we'll come back down, get a reversal alert, and we'll continue to run on that one, but I shall monitor that. New Zealand dollar Swiss, same thing. It's up in the 24.72 range, which is where we love short continuations. So looking for next leg down on that one as well. Boris is out, so looks good. Sunak is in, yeah. Sorry, Steve, I missed your question. Do you use a candlestick pattern identifier indicator on some of your charts? On the Price Action Toolkit, yes. I don't use it because I don't need it, but this is basically the Price Action Toolkit is a candlestick identifier as well. Bullish engulfing, strong close, inventory retracement bar. There's no long wicks, but yeah, we'll do long wicks as well. Hammers, shooting stars, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's what Price Action Toolkit does. I only have it on because I just have it on while I'm trading with it, but I don't. I kind of know what they are. You know, you can use it, trade long enough. You just don't need a lot of things like fibs. You know, I can see fib pullbacks. You can see them. You know where they are after a while. You know, it's obviously it's an obvious 50% fib retracement. You just see them just burnt into your brain, which is why I keep saying chart time is so unbelievably important if you want to be a trader, because you need to build muscle memory in your eyeballs, and the only way you're going to do that is by staring at charts. So New Zealand dollar Swiss shorts, nice area for shorts. We haven't got any extensions at the moment. We just about got an extension this morning. Again, there's a lot of opportunities in Asia this morning on a lot of pairs, but you had to be up at the crack of dawn to get them. But that's coming down very nicely. New Zealand yen, obviously, no idea. We've got a very weak New Zealand today across the board, which is lovely for my Aussie New Zealand. Long may that continue. But yeah, New Zealand US obviously is shorts as well. So again, this is a good area to start a short Friday. It's coming down very nicely this morning. Again, we're back up into an area of support and resistance. So lovely bounce there. So hopefully that will continue. We need some strength on the US, and obviously that is going to be dependent on what happens with the yen over the next couple of days. So we're waiting for the yen to decide what they're going to do. US dollar CAD, obviously we've got a nice bullish move on US at the moment going on. So looking for longs on everything US dollar until we get something fundamental that says we shouldn't be looking for longs on US dollar. So pullbacks and longs on those RSI extensions to the downside, which is why I'm in this one here. Yeah, just keep longing it until we get something out of the Fed that says, actually, you shouldn't be longing us. And even then, it's got to take something pretty bad, isn't it, to make it weaker than everything else. You know, the US is always going to be stronger than everything out there, unless there is something fundamentally that that screws the US up. So, but the US yen, obviously, this is So far this morning, we're not really doing much, are we? Obviously, that intervention, that second intervention there, we've really not done anything. But this is normal price action. Look, this is normal price action we're seeing here. It's just it looks really tiny compared to what has happened, but actually, there's nothing unusual with this price action, is it? This is what we normally do. This sort of candle size. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a normal news event. That's an intervention. Just shows you, it pales into insignificance, doesn't it? That's some news manipulation. That's a news manipulation. This is just, you know, it puts it into perspective what the Japanese bank have done here, yeah, and how big a move that really is. Yeah, you go back and look at the previous intervention, yeah. You know, it's a big thing what they're doing, and if it backfires, that is what you get. If this backfires, we'll be, I don't know, what's the next stop? I mean, there is no next stop, is there? That's it. That 1998 level, was that August 98 is what we've surpassed. So, you know, we haven't been here for quite a while, have we? So this is a 15-year high. Where do we go from here? If the Bank of Japan cannot intervene enough to make this work, what do they do? Wow, look at my entry. Where's my entry gone? So I pretty much bought the high. I've sold the high of the last 15 years on that. I think that's got to go down as probably one of the best entries I've ever had. I sold the high of sold the 15-year high. Can you imagine if this thing collapses now back down to $100? I got short there. Wouldn't that be amazing? I might just hold this forever and just see if it does collapse. Yeah, I should post that. I should run around all the Discord and Telegram channels, shouldn't I? Going, hey, look at how amazing I am. Come join my live stream. These you can expect these entries every day. Not. The US dollar, the WRB gap on the US dollar yen at the top. Yeah, and that is, I mean, that obviously still is valid. This is where the move started. But I mean, yeah. If they get there and you don't see the sellers defending this area, we know we're in for a rally. Where to, and what does the Bank of Japan do next? I can't see them letting it happen. But then again, I said the same thing at 135. The Bank of Japan were going to intervene, and they did nothing about it then either. So I mean, but this is different. This is a second intervention this morning. So this one to me seems a little bit more of a serious, yeah, really, guys, we're not letting this happen type move. Whether or not it is or not, I don't know. I mean, the fact that we undid the whole lot very, very quickly and we've reversed. I mean, this is the V-shaped recovery complete. I don't know. It's difficult. But yeah, I mean, that area is still in play. So they could rally up to that. So, you know, you could take a long here and try and get the fade. But just, you know, you got to bear in mind, any second, they could do this again, couldn't they? You know, it's like they're in a boxing ring at the moment, the yen. They are beaten up really badly. they swing these odd punches, yeah, which hit hard. If they keep swinging these punches and hit hard, the market's going to get the message and go, all right, yeah, we get it. You're not letting it go any higher. If they're not letting it go any higher, there is nowhere else it can go. That's got to weaken the US dollar, isn't it? So then the Fed has got to come out and do something. And, you know, it's this constant battle between currencies. And this is what makes the FX market so interesting and so volatile, is because you've always got two participants involved. Things like futures with indices, with oil. There is oil, that's it. Indices, you know, the indices are made up of 100 stocks, 30 stocks, 500 stocks, whatever, but it's one index. With these, there's always two participants, and the fundamentals of the individual currencies are what makes it move so hard. So if this is going to come down and the yen is going to power up, the market is going to need money to buy the yen. Where's it going to get that money from? Other currencies. It's going to come out of the euro, it's going to come out of the Swissy, it's going to come out of the pound, it's going to come out of the US dollar. To what extent does the US dollar, then the Fed, let their currency devalue because people are buying up the yen before it intervenes and goes, no, we're not having this? And then it starts again. And this is where our push and pull comes from. And this is where the profit taking is happening. Yeah. Buy, profit take, buy, profit take. Sell, profit take, sell, profit take. You're still going to get the push and the pull. It's just that this is not timeable in any way, shape or form. It's a lucky trade. I'm in a very lucky US dollar yen short. I was in a very lucky NASDAQ last week, wasn't I? I mean, that 10% day on Wednesday, was it? That one, wasn't it? Tuesday, Wednesday? Can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was this one, wasn't it? I was short and it just went. I was like, well, why? No, it's this move here, wasn't it? Is that? I was short there. I can't remember when it was. But you know, something's got to give. When one moves, it's got to be powered by something. Yeah. So there's money going to come out of something to buy the yen. Yeah. Even if it's the central government and the central bank of Japan making these purchases, they need to use another currency to prop up their currency. And any bonds they release, the other people buying those bonds have got to use another currency to buy that currency. Therefore, that other currency will devalue. There's only a certain pot of cash, of dollars, and if you're getting rid of them and turning them into that, they're disappearing. It goes down. That's just the way the Forex markets work. So, just any moment. But if we get into there and you see signs of bearish moves, stop above those highs, because if they are going to continue this, that's where they will intervene again. They're not going to let it get much further than that before they're going to step in again. So could be. It's worth a limit order. Yeah, you know, just stick a limit order. Yeah. You know, that's your risk. Yeah. Don't put a TP on it. If they're going to intervene, take whatever they give. You know, look at where the interventions are going. So let's say the next intervention is going to be down there. If it happens, we just don't know. But what harm is that going to do? Having a limit order there. This is a gamble. It's a total gamble. But it's based on potential fundamentals. And again, same thing. Stick a limit order here. So where would you stick a limit order today? I would probably go underneath that low and that low there, somewhere around about 148.6, 148.7. Stick a limit order there. Stick a stop up there. If the next intervention happens, if it happens and it takes you low, it's a huge risk reward, isn't it? But that's trading. Everything's gamble. Every time you hit the button, got a 50-50 shot. I was in short before the sell on US dollar yen, 151.207, closed 307 pips. We'll sell again if we get up there. Yeah. So that's why I did a partial close. Yeah, this is why I only partially closed it. That 0.15. I took a 0.10 off there way too early. I mean, but you know, that's still over 2% in half an hour. Yeah, my normal target is 10% a month, isn't it? I made 20% of my target in 30 minutes. Thank you. Yes, I could have made 40% of my target in an hour and a bit, but I didn't. But it doesn't matter, does it? It's not. You're never going to catch that. You're never going to catch that. You catch the meat in the middle. That's what it's all about. Stop trying to catch that. You're not going to do it. It's so hard. Catch the meat in the middle. If you get some of the meat in the middle of the move, that's it. And this is what my my mentor was always going on about. Yeah. Don't try and, you know, you buy when it's green, you sell when it's red. Yeah. Don't try and catch that. Yeah. Wait for that to start and then get in there and then get out there and catch this. Because the probability of that is way higher than catching that in a trend. You're just not going to be able to. It's so difficult. Unless you're position trading, in which case your entry price is determined not by where you're hitting the button. It's determined by where the average is. You know, that's why we position trade, isn't it? To stop us losing that money all the time trying to catch this, because we can't time that. No one can time that. The banks can, because they're the ones that can make it happen. We can't time this thing. So you've just got to get in and take the meat in the middle. And this is why everybody dies, because they're all trying to catch that. And this is what the reversal indicator is designed to do, is to get you into a position after. This is the wrong thing to look at, isn't it? After. Yeah. So stop trying to catch the low, catch the low, catch the low, catch the low. Wait for the market to tell you, actually, we've got some buyers on board. That's the meat. The meat comes after the reversal's happened. If that is going to be the reversal. If it's not, then you're stopped out. And there's nothing you can do about that, is there? But this is what we're interested in. Some of it. I want some of this move. But I don't want it all, because, you know, you can't. You can't get it all. If you can't time that, how on earth are you going to time that? But when you get that reversal alert there, yeah, that's your meat. Yeah. Or you just take, you know, take a high. It doesn't matter, does it? As long as the money's there and it's enough, you take it. You can't, you know as well as I do, you can't time it. If we could, we'd all be millionaires. Right, Aussie New Zealand is being a pain in the bum. It's just stuck at the Asian midline at the minute. So we'll see what happens with that one. Euro Swiss pushing back up again. We got so much news this week. I think we're going to have a very, very sideways movement, because we've got obviously we've got CPIs coming out. We've got 2 rates coming out. There's a lot of stuff happening, which the market's not going to want to put a ton of cash in, just in case things start to move against. So pound US, pound hasn't gone anywhere off of those figures. We've just hovered. US dollar CAD, New Zealand CAD doing well. So yeah, there's my portfolio. I'm just monitoring that lot today. I'm not taking anything new. Anybody got anything else they want to discuss or look at? DAX found support. All the indices found support this morning. But obviously we are making new lows. So from that high down, there's your market structure. So looking somewhere in here potentially if we're going to continue to the downside today for new leg. So that's where we found our support. But we are obviously expanding at the minute. So there's every potential we could come back down and put in a new low in the next couple of days. So we'll see what the earnings are. Right, I've got nothing else to cover this morning. So that's everything looked at from an FX perspective. I'm not going to trade anymore there this morning. I will have a look at the E8 tournament and what exactly that's all about. I've got 150k account in that tournament and with a 5k drawdown limit. So I'm going to have a think about today what I want to do with the trading on that, because I might try and trade some FX support resistance bounces on higher time frames. But I get the feeling a lot of people are going to be going all in and trying to get some big old moves and big profit fast or blow the account. So I might have to do the same. I'm not sure if there's a leaderboard or anything about that E8 tournament. So if you've got a funded account with E8 or you've had an evaluation, you probably received an email about the tournament. But it starts today and it runs until I think the 11th or the 6th of November or something. No, I think it's like 6th of November or something. And whoever's got the most profit wins prizes. And I think it's about 30 or 40 prizes up for grabs, including funded accounts and evaluation accounts and stuff. So, and obviously cash prizes as well. So, but I might start trading that in the mornings and just obviously DAX trade it in the morning and to see if I can get some crazy moves in with high risk. But I'll have a think. I'll have a think about that one. Nice pullback going on at the moment. So we're just approaching the 50%. Actually, we're at the 50%, approaching the 61.8. So here, if we get some rejection, might be next leg starting. If we're going to continue south today. We've not had a bot in here this morning, have we? We've not had any naughty bots this morning. It's changed, isn't it? Right, I'll be in the Telegram group, guys, if you need me. Other than that, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. I'm not going to take anything new. As I say, I'm just going to monitor and manage this lot. Stops at break even on the US dollar yen. So that'll either stop out or it won't. I'm not going to bank that. I've had a good month. Normally I'd be banking that, but I'm after this month. So I'll just monitor everything and see what happens today. But there's a fair few opportunities out there, as I say. Keep your eyes on the hourlies mainly. The 14 hourly RSIs, anything extended above 75.25 in line with the current trend is best entries, I think, at the minute. Try and get on some of these trend moves. And then obviously anything that we get massive extensions on the 4 hours as usual. And obviously the ADRs, but the ADRs at the moment are all over the gaff. So you can't take anything to do with yen into account at the moment, as I say. So there's not a lot of opportunities, but keep your eyes peeled for any others that light up there. Aussie CAD, for example, just bouncing off of 100 at the minute. But see how you get on. If you need anything, I'll be in the Telegram group, and otherwise I will see you in the morning. Have a good day, and yeah, see you tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time.